Conference contest live from the Miami American Airlines Arena. Great to be with you. This is Kevin Harlan here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellum as 2K Sports presents this Tuesday afternoon broadcast of the NBA. So let's take a look at the Boston Celtics starting lineup. Rondo and Allen make up the backcourt. Kevin Garnett and Jermaine O'Neal at the 4 and 5. And it's Pierce in at the small forward. And for the Heat, Wade and LeBron are the wingmen. Chris Bosh and Udonis Haslem down low. And it's Chalmers in at the 1 spot.
You knew the big three when they came together, guys, that they would be good. But they did a pretty decent job, I thought, of finding complementary players to fill out the roster after a big chunk of the salaries went to the big three.
And the basket by Wade. Wade's got the first basket of the game for the Heat. Shoots a 3. Rondo, no good.
Now, the three-pointer really isn't his game. I'd like to see him get closer to the hoop.
Well, back to the Heat, and Clark, you're right. They searched out Betts that knew how to fill a role and need and really build a team around the stars.
Well, and that's critical because anytime you have the core group together, it's about finding role players who are going to accept their responsibilities on the team and accept the fact that sometimes they're not going to see the minutes that they would otherwise like. But they handled it well. They got a good roster around their stars, and it paid off.
Now it's sent it down to Doris Burke, who was able to catch up with Coach Doc Rivers.
Kevin, he told me that they'll be looking to keep things moving quickly on the offensive end in order to negate some of their opponent's shot blocking skills. He feels that if they can keep them on the move and off balance, they'll be able to keep their leapers from turning away shots. Guys?
Thanks for getting back to us on that report, Doris. Guys?
You know, it's really important not to be afraid of the defense over there. I mean, you can't be playing in a fearful fashion. You just got to pick your spots and execute.
Yeah, and be aggressive. You know, you're right, Clark. You can't be intimidated by the speed and strength of this defense. You got to have confidence and take your shots when they're there and attack the lanes when you got an opportunity.
You know, there were questions about how LeBron would play in a new jersey. Statistically, he was about the same with the drop in points and a higher field goal percentage. He's a brilliant player no matter what uniform he's got on.
Talking more about LeBron's stats, you're all over it, Clark. Steals, assists, blocks, rebounds, all look the same way they did in his last year with Cleveland. I guess, Steve, the difference is he played with another superstar. In fact, two, if you put Bosh in there, it was something that he was really aiming for, and it paid off.
Yeah, LeBron was never concerned about numbers. It's always been about winning, and I think he wanted to find some teammates that he could pair up with, and give him credit. I mean, he found a great spot in Miami. He's got a lot of talent around him. The numbers will always be there, but the big thing is winning, and he just wants to win rings, and that's why he made his choice. Nice job defensively. The rotations were there. They really challenged that shot. That's like a Hail Mary pass in football. Too risky.
Wade dishes to Bosh. Takes it right up. And count it. 2 points with a chance for one more at the free throw line.
He had almost a free run to the hoop that time, Kevin. I mean, that was too easy. Quite the interesting season for Chris Bosh last year. I mean, obviously more team success than he really enjoyed in Toronto, but individually, his numbers dropped a bit. I don't think it bothered him, though. He wanted to win.
Releases from 15. Gets it off the backboard. Here's LeBron. Right around 3 minutes left in the first quarter of the game. Well, talking about Bosh's numbers from last season, Steve, his rebounding and his field goal percentage did drop off from the year before.
And his shooting percentages last year were really in line or even above his career numbers. So I thought Bosh had a good season. It just took him some time to kind of adjust to playing with his new team and a new style, but ultimately Bosh made a big impact down there.
Pierce against Wade. From 11 feet away, the shot by Pierce will not go. The Heat with the lead. From 20 feet out, here's Bosh. Stuffs it through.
And that's just rubbing it in, Tom.
Throwing it down with style.
These folks are not going to forget that one anytime soon.
Rondo. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. Mario Chalmers picks one up.
Well, I thought Rondo played well for the Celtics in their postseason run last spring. I thought he picked up and elevated his production from the regular season. Had a pretty strong playoff run.
That free throw missing. Again, back to Rondo. Clark actually upped his scoring totals during the playoffs from about 10 points a contest to 14. First round against the Knicks, 19 and 12. Terrific. And then I'm sure you remember the gruesome dislocation of the left elbow.
That was hard to watch.
And what guts to come back and play in that series.
Yeah, he's a tough little hombre.
Steve, you had to appreciate that performance.
Oh, boy, he was really something to watch, Kevin. With that injury, to continue to compete in that series against Miami, you could tell he was hurting, but he still brought it every night. And he gave a great performance given what he was going through.
Here's O'Neal. The jumper from the free throw line is good. Here's LeBron. 1:49 left in the first quarter. O'Neal is tagged with the reach. That's his first foul.
Kick it out! Kick it out!
It's intercepted.
You know, Kevin, by and large, the turnover story hasn't been that bad for them. I mean, they've only given up a handful.
So it's Miami now.
Well, we all know Rajon Rondo is among the fastest players in the NBA, but he's really the only Celtic who wants to get out and run. This is more of a half-court team. In fact, Boston finished in the bottom 10 in the league in fast break points. What a great job playing the passing lane.
Allen's shot is off.
Well, that's not really what typically happens for someone with his touch around the rim. That's a surprise.
Over O'Neal, and he's able to get it back. Another shot, and it's Bosh, that time in the assist by LeBron. That's 7 points for Chris Bosh. And Steve, you're talking about the Celtics and their slower pace, bottom 10 in fast break points. Mark, I guess that's often the case for more veteran teams. They don't want to get into a trap.
Yeah, I think they've got to be more efficient in terms of how they massage offensive possessions. I mean, you look at Rondo, who is an absolute burner, but the rest of the starting unit probably better suited to a half-court game. It'll be interesting seeing how the Celtics go forward because Rondo moving into his prime and obviously more effective in an up-and-down game. Will the Celtics acquiesce to who he is and what his best type of game is as they go forward?
Dwayne Wade's checked in for the Heat. Coles comes in for Mario Chalmers. The Celtics also changing it up. Kevin Garnett is checked in for Bass. Pierce comes in for Ray Allen. And it's Dooling in for Rajon Rondo.
That's just a beautiful fast break.
Definitely. Textbook all the way to the nice finish at the rim.
It's a 4-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Celtics trail by 4. It's stolen by Wade.
Yeah, just a nightmare start for them early in this game with the turnover.
Well, 3 turnovers already, Steve, as you've documented. I mean, it feels like tip-off was seconds ago, and they're not holding on to the ball.
Deflected. 1 second left. No good trying to beat the buzzer. The offense coming free and easy as we wrap up the first quarter. Heat out front. They lead by 6.
And this team has done a nice job on the glass. I think that's how they've built this lead. They've been very physical, really established a presence in the paint.
I'm a bud, I'm a tree, I'm a whack, I'm a flame on the ground underneath.
And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. Here's Dooling. So with Rondo on the bench, here's the 5 for Doc Rivers right now. Kevin Garnett and Jermaine O'Neal at the 4 and 5. Dooling is out there with Sasha Pavlovich. And it's Pierce in at the 3 spot. Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Well, guys, when Jermaine O'Neal was 19, his life was saved by a stranger. He was driving, another car slammed into his, sending it flipping over a ditch. As his car caught fire, O'Neal realized that he was trapped. Suddenly, someone pulled him to safety, and to this day, he hasn't been able to find out who that was. O'Neal said the experience motivated him. This whole life, this whole 15 years has a purpose. When you go through things like that, when you're facing death, you realize God does have a plan. All the things that seemed important aren't as important anymore. More than anything, I have a purpose in life. That's something I really value and cherish. An incredible story, guys.
It certainly is. Thank you, Doris.
It's truly a new lease on life, and he's made the most of it.
And he can't get the first one.
Well, you look at the Celtics a season ago, they went 23 and 18 on the road, and that would be a good mark for most teams. That was Boston's worst road record in the last 4 years.
No luck that time either. Steve was talking about that Celtics road record. You think, Clark, that is something to be concerned about, 23 and 18 away?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, on their overall record, they gained 6 wins from the previous season. If there's any concern for the Celtics, it's probably the question of age and how much did the Big Three have left in the tank. But it is interesting when you think about it. Last year, the year before rather, when they got to the NBA Finals, they didn't feel concerned about not having home court advantage in the Eastern Conference because they had been so good on the road.
Sure.
So that could have maybe put a little chink in their armor in last season's playoff.
Oh, they're now +5 in the rebound category, really controlling the glass.
And rebounding is one of those non-glamour stats. I mean, it takes work and effort and tenacity and physicality. But when you look at the scoreboard, you can see the correlation.
Here's LeBron.
I love Kevin Garnett. He's kind of an old school player. He doesn't hug players before or after the game. Like a lot of people think he's sort of disrespectful, but he just wants to win. He is a nasty competitor.
Moves back up. Rebound by the Heat. Here's LeBron. Has him inside. He's guarded by Bass. Marked down low that time, and he got the 3-second jump. A different look for Miami. Chris Bosh is checked in for Joel Anthony. Mathieu comes in for LeBron. And it's Chalmers in for Cole. And for the Celtics, Jermaine O'Neal is checked in for Garnett. For Ray Allen. Rajon Rondo is subbed in for Keon Dooling.
Just a total lack of focus, was not paying attention to where he was.
Wade kicks to Chalmers. Over Rondo. Chalmers' shot is no good. You talk about Kevin Garnett, and Clark has talked about his demeanor on the floor. One thing's for certain, the KG's between those lines. Last thing he's thinking about is making friends.
Yeah, he's got plenty of barking and biting to him, and some people are a little put off by it, but he's been that way pretty much his whole career. I don't see it changing. It served him too well.
It's stolen by Rondo.
And you're asking a lot out of your teammate to try to handle that pass. I don't like that decision at all.
Here's Wade. He's got 10. Pavlovich is going to be hit with the blocking call. That is his first foul of the game.
And I think he made the right call there. It's always a bang-bang play, but I don't think the defense had position.
You know, blocking fouls are never easy to whistle, but that one definitely looked like a block to me.
Celtics trail by 4. And it's blocked, but they recover it. Passes it to Bass. Pushes up. Dunked hard with one hand.
You know, you get better elevation with the one-hand dunk, and it's the most basic of all. Keep it simple.
And probably the most reliable.
Yeah, hard to mess that one up.
Joel Anthony's checked in for Miami. LeBron comes in for Dwayne Wade. Kevin Garnett is checked in for Boston. Allen comes in for Paul Pierce. Here's Battier. Looking for his first bucket of the game. Excellent D there from Garnett.
I like the work there, contesting that shot that looked like it was going to be easy, but they forced the miss.
You know what? He got it in close, but couldn't finish in traffic.
Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Hi, Kevin. Well, one of the big turning points for Miami and the Big Three was an early season loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Their record was 9-8 at that point, and as it turned out, the Mavs would be their finals opponent. Wade said of the team meeting that followed that loss, at that meeting, letting us know to be friends and to be real with each other. If we see something wrong with our game, point it out. I think we all looked at each other and held each other accountable with our games. That was a significant moment in the Heat season.
Thank you, Doris. That game served as a wake-up call for the Heat early on.
You know, I remember that game. You could see the Heat were a different team after that loss last year, and I think it helped them get to the finals. Well, you knew Miami would be a new big power in the East with the Big Three in tow. They didn't disappoint, blowing right by their conference win total from the prior season.
And the big run gives them the lead.
This is great basketball to watch. When the offense and defense are clicking and feeding off one another the way they are, beautiful.
Anthony. Good, and the assist goes to LeBron. LeBron's now got 3 assists now in this one. Yeah, Clark, what you were saying before, the Heat before LeBron and Washington won 32 games in all, but with them on board, they won 38 games. Steve, very nice number.
Yeah, and that 38 was only bested by those 39 Eastern Conference wins. So Miami really handled its business well last year.
You know, guys, I think the Celtics actually came into the playoffs last season with a little less swagger than usual. I mean, losing Kendrick Perkins in a trade seemed to shake them up a little bit, and with Shaq really unable to contribute due to injuries, a team used to being big inside perhaps felt a little smaller.
Catching up on the changes with Miami. Chris Bosh is checked in for Haslem. Wade comes in for LeBron. And Cole subbed in for Shane Battier. The shot by Pierce will not go. Clark, you set the table there well with the Celtics and their injuries. That did play a role in the postseason, not just in the front court. The dislocated elbow of Rajon Rondo also factored in. Steve, that was a huge hit for that team.
Yeah, I was amazed that he was able to return in that game and continue to play the rest of the series. But it did limit him. And with Rondo slowed down, the Celtics had a tough time scoring. In fact, Miami really played him in Boston kind of 5-on-4. They didn't honor his offense, and it really cost Boston. He's so graceful around the rim. Sometimes you forget how strong he is.
Wade passes to Chalmers. Fires it up. That falls. Nice feed that time from Dwayne Wade. Here's Rondo. 8 points for him. Lets it go. Rondo with another miss. With 4 seconds on the clock. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up. It's on Kevin Garnett.
Heads-up play, preventing the easy lay-in.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he saw it was a free layup, didn't want to give that up, so he fouled him to force free throws.
Both good from the line that time.
So far in this game for Rondo,